Hello, welcome to KYC, Know Your Candidate. Remember sometime last year, we brought you profiles of political candidates vying for primaries leading up to them becoming candidates of their various political parties. But this time around, we want to profile the forerunners, that is the major political parties leading up to the 2023 general elections. And we're going to be discussing their profiles. Of course, we're going to be looking at their personalities, their controversies, their strongholds, predictions leading up to the elections, their chances of winning or losing, and all of that we're going to put together for you. Make sure you also join us on the program by dropping your comments and your reactions on the comment section. We want to know what you think about these candidates also as we inch closer to the general elections. You hold on, we'll be right back. Welcome back. All right, I have some very fine guests here on the program, and together we're going to profile these candidates. On my far right here is Bright Ayoze, a telecommunication expert and a political enthusiast. You're welcome.
Thank you, Abule.
And right next to him is Natasha Brown, a TV host. You are welcome to the program. And by my left here is Victor Sioku, our current affairs analyst here on Thav TV. You're welcome also. Good to have you.
Thank you, sir.
More. All right, we're going to just dive into looking at the profile of these candidates. All right, we talked about the forerunners leading up to the general election, and that will be Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the All Progressive Congress, Labour Party's Peter Gregory Obi, and NNPP's Rabiu Kwankwaso. But first, let's jump into their profile. We're beginning with that of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Let's see what the man is about. All right. Bola Ahmed Tinubu was born 29th of March, 1952, and that makes him 70 years of age. And he's also a qualified accountant, and he also graduated from the University of Chicago, Chicago State University, that is. All right. And he was also once Lagos State Governor from 1999 to 2007, of course. And then at some point, he was also a senator of Lagos West Senatorial District. That's from 1992 to 1993. He also has other, things attached to him, his achievements, his predictions, but we're going to look at that as we carry on with the program. So I'm going to just go straight to talking to you first, Mr. Bright. What do you think of the man, Bola Ahmed Tinubu? When you hear that name, what comes to your mind?
Thank you so much, Williams. Bola Ahmed Tinubu. When I hear that name, I hear Jagaban, I hear Asiwaju, yeah. I hear a bulldozer, a political bulldozer. Yeah. Yes, he's got some flack. People give him a lot of flack. All right, but one thing you will not take out from him is Bola Tinubu is someone that has paid his dues in Nigerian politics. Yeah. He has been there. He has done that. He was Lagos governor for 2 terms. I was in Lagos at the time. I was born and brought up in Lagos, so I experienced, Bola Tinubu as a governor. Yeah. Could he have done better as a governor? Maybe yes. Did he do okay? What did he do? What did he do that made people, or that makes people think, oh, Bola Tinubu built Lagos? I may differ a bit to thinking that Bola Tinubu built Lagos, because Lagos was before him was a capital of Nigeria. So you can never rule out that. You can never rule out the fact that it was a former capital. So investment will have been made to make sure Lagos is where it's supposed to be. All right. But that aside, Bola Tinubu helped with the IGR of Lagos. All right. When he came in, the IGR was a bit, I think was maybe within 800 million or something like that. I think he rose it to about 1.5 billion. I can still confirm that, but I think about 1.5 billion naira per year. The IGR, he raised that. He introduced taxes, proper taxation system in Lagos that ensured that IGR increased. Yeah. So yes, he has done some good things in Lagos. You can never take that away from him. You understand? He has raised people also in the political, Nigerian political scene. Yeah. He has mentored a lot of great people that we know of today. All right, but that aside, there's still a lot of things hovering around the name Bola Tinubu.
So we're going to come to those things hovering around Bola Tinubu. Let me hear your thoughts about this man. Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
For me, I think every time I hear that name, Bat, I hear.
Why do you call him bad, though?
Well, I mean, Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of has some semblance to the whole Bat thing, but that's not the point. But every time I think of him, I think of godfatherism. I think of experience. I think of politicking. That's what is synonymous with the name. This is a man that has been in the corridors of power and has been associated with power for the longest of time. He has been there. He has done that. He has been with the Obasanjos like from way back. So even from when he was like a really young man, say late 20s, he was already in the corridors of power, you know, doing things behind the scenes. So this is a man that is steeped in it. This is a man that is deep in politics. This is a man that understands the language of politics and the sagacity that it requires. So when it comes to that name, Bat, that name Jagaban, ooh, that godfather is in there, and that is truckload bullion van experience. Actually, yes.
I like the way you put it.
Right. I think that's why it's called the line of Baudelaire as well. But alongside all of those interesting things that we hear about him, he also has a lot of antecedents. He has a lot of questions around him. He is almost like an enigma. Everybody keeps wondering, who are you really? I mean, I think it was this year or last year as well that the whole name Amoda Ogunlere came up.
Wow.
And there was this alleged story of him initially having had this name, and then he had to transit into being Bola due to some indictment with the American authorities and all that, based off of drug trafficking and all that. So this man is a bundle of information.
Wow.
He's a bundle of story. He's interesting, he's intriguing, and he's scary at the same time.
Wow.
So I think when I look about him, there's a lot of things I want to know about him. There's a lot of things I want to unfold about him. There are a lot of biases I want to have answers to, so that I can understand why my biases are rightly informed or not. But on a larger crop of things, I think that he's both. He is a godfather. He's a wealth of experience and also a very controversial man.
Interesting.
That knows that he is.
Interesting one coming from Natasha about Bola Ahmed Tinubu. All right, I'm going to come to you, Victor. What is your opinion about this very astute politician called Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Tough guy. Tough. Well, he has made his mark in politics, and he has made his mark in infrastructure. No two ways about that. And when you wonder, some persons will be like, Lagos has been running before he came in. But can we also imagine that we have a state called Cross River, and we've had bad leadership in those states, and it's so painful because Calabar has been a big city, okay, and due to poor leadership, Calabar is what it is right now. But I have my issues with Pat. What are my issues with him? You can't be running politics since mid-90s. You can't be Jagaban since mid-90s till date. You want to have that power. In Nigeria that we want vibrant people, because we know what happened the last 8 years. Sorry, maybe I'm just going too fast, but I just have my issues, okay? Yes, we'll keep going, but
get into
that is just my
all
intro.
controversies. All right, very interesting profiling of all my guests here about Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Next, we're going to look at another astute politician, and that will be Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, the People's Democratic Party. All right, and this is what we know about Atiku Abubakar. He was born on the 25th of November, 1946, which makes him a 76-year-old. And he's a Nigerian politician, businessman who served as the vice president of Nigeria from 1999 to 2007. During the presidency of Obasanjo, he ran as governor also of Adamawa State in 1990, 1996, and later in 1998, being elected before becoming Olusegun Obasanjo's running mate during the 1999 presidential election. All right, and Atiku also ran successfully for president of Nigeria 5 times in 1993, 2007, 2011, and of course 2015 and 2019. He ran in the SDP, that is the Social Democratic Party, presidential primaries in 1993, but lost to Moshood Abiola. Also, what we know of Atiku Abubakar, He was once a customs director. Atiku worked in the Nigerian Customs Service for 20 years, rising to become the deputy director as the second highest position in the service was then known. He retired in April 1989 and took up full-time business and politics. He started out in the real estate business during his early days as a customs officer. But right now we know that he is the presidential candidate for the PDP. Okay, let me just go to you, Mr. Bright. What do you think of this man, Atiku Abubakar?
Atiku Abubakar.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, he's one of the most respected politicians in Nigeria. He's someone that has also paid his dues, just like Jagaban. All right. Atiku, for me, I would call him a career politician because he's been contesting for one thing or the other for God knows how long.
Yeah.
You know, before he became Adamawa governor, or before he was what do you call it? Because he contested to become Adamawa's governor, Adamawa State's governor. All right, governor of Adamawa State. Let me put it that way. However, because of Obasanjo needed him as a running mate, all right, he left that ambition. But before that, he contested like 2 or 3 times before he became the governor. After Obasanjo, or while he became the VP for maybe 2 terms, he contested for presidency of Nigeria for 5 times. For me, it reeks of desperation. All right, because if for some reason you're not, Nigerians don't want you. For some reason, you might be good. You might have good intentions for Nigeria, but for me, I feel that it gets to a point where you just tell yourself, you know what, let's call it quits. We've tried. He's 76 years old. Man should be resting with his grandchildren and chilling in Dubai like he always does. But now he's contesting again. And if he loses, he goes back to Dubai and chill. Nothing happened for the next 4 years. So for me, he's a top guy. He's a top politician. He's a top businessman, of repute. He has done things and he has critical acclaim. But for me, I feel he shouldn't be run. He shouldn't be in this race. That's my honest opinion.
Interesting. He shouldn't be in this race. Do you also think the same?
I'd slightly tilt the other way. I think that when we say that someone having contested and vied for a certain position for 5 times thereabout risks of desperation, I beg to differ a bit, because most of the time, even us in our personal lives, if we have a goal, no matter how many times we haven't attained that goal, we keep pressing, we keep pushing. Why? Because we have an intention, we have a purpose. That's the reason we keep getting at it. So for me, it's no different from the political scenery. If you know that you have a vision that you want to implement for Nigerians that will be good for Nigerians, and you understand how you can deliver it, you keep pushing at it. So you can be able to have that access to do what you've always wanted to do. I mean, case in point, Buhari, he vied for it for a number of times, albeit he was once in the top tier office during the military regime and all that, even though we still faced all the issues we're facing now. But at the end of the day, I beg to differ. It kind of reeks of desperation, on a shallow level, but on a deeper level, it makes you see a man who knows what he wants and who will go for it up until he gets it, regardless of how unpopular or other people might think it is. So that's on one end about Atiku.
So can I respond to that?
But no, hold on.
Can I respond to that?
Hold on, right.
Okay, let her finish
Let me just finish
and let you respond.
So, you said what resonates with me when I think of Abubakar. I think of an astute businessman. I think of a man that is above average intelligent in what he's doing. I mean, he runs one of the most elitist universities here in Nigeria, APTI, which breeds out exceptional students. And I love that for him. And I love also the fact that he's the #1 employer of labor in the state of Adamawa. That's something I look forward to. It makes me understand that you are business oriented, that you know the dynamics of labor, and you have some economic knowledge under your belt, albeit he's also been in the corridors of power as well, just like that, and he has been vice president at a point in time. So it makes me understand that you also have some experience. not just on the public level, but on the private level as well. So for me, I think that to a large extent, that's what resonates with me when I think about Atiku.
All right, Bright, you wanted to respond to one of our comments.
Yes, I'll respond to the comment about desperation, all right? And why I'm saying that is because of you brought an example, which was, the icing on the cake for me. Look at, where has Buhari brought us to? The last 8 years. He has been desperate for power for God knows how long, thinking that there was one grand plan for Nigeria. Where did we end up?
Well, we cannot use another man as a template for another man.
So
we
yeah,
can't do that.
Which I understand, which is very fair. However, this is someone that's never held executive power.
He's been in the corridors of executive power.
He's been in the corridor, but he has not
What are you
held.
referring to that
Atiku has never held executive power.
as a president?
As a president or a governor, he has never held executive power.
Okay.
And you need that experience for Nigeria. That's one.
Are you saying he doesn't have it?
He doesn't have. He has experience, but he doesn't have.
VP for 8 years doesn't have
He
it?
doesn't have. He has never held executive power. Please note what I'm saying. I'm not saying he doesn't have experience in politics. That's different. These are two different things. All right. He has never been the one to call the shots.
Okay.
The ball doesn't stop with him at any time. It has never stopped with him. So he has never called the shots for a military operation. He has never called the shots for economic decisions. The book has never stopped with him. All right.
Let's not forget he
sorry.
was a customs officer. Not just a customs officer, he rose up to be
That is not executive power.
for almost 20 years.
That is not executive power in politics.
Okay.
That is not executive power. If you're a governor, or you've been a governor, or you've held presidency, or you're military head of state, that's executive power.
Okay.
Because the buck stops at your table.
Yes,
all right?
the book
Let me
stops
finish.
at
Let me
your
finish.
table,
Let
but
me
then
finish.
as long as you are in the corridors, in a closed-knit space as a vice, you have direct access to how a lot of
things are
things
done.
run,
Yeah.
how things are done.
Having an idea-
No, it's not having an idea.
It doesn't relate to-
You are in it. A case in point, a sweet case in point, the dynamics between Buhari and Yemi Osinbajo. Yemi was just a vice president. Everybody thought he was in the silent mode. He had been hibernated. But the moment executive power was wielded over to him, we see the dynamic changes he effected in the space of how many months? So
About
what
6
am I
months
saying?
or so.
What's my take is I will not gauge you based off of the fact that you have held executive power directly, but once I understand that you have been in the power play, you have been in the process, you have been in the closed-knit corridors of how these things run, it makes me understand that you have near-hand, first-hand knowledge of how things should be run. All that needs to be done is for you to have that access for you to deliver, and that's about it.
All right, thank you very much. We'll come back to you, but let me also have Mr. Victor's take. All right, Victor, what do you think about
nice
the
words,
argument and what you also
nice
think
words
about Atiku?
from our friends here. But I need to also ask you guys, see, are we talking about having experience in governance, or are we talking about leadership here?
Right.
Nigeria has failed because our citizens, we put in our minds with respect to experience. We are copying the United States as far as I'm concerned. Yes, Nigeria owes it to be the biggest black nation that is running on democracy. Now, Atiku might be going with the that he's mirroring Abraham Lincoln, that he's pushing and pushing and pushing. My brother, he should not try it with my life. Okay? Why am I saying this? Because we've had that experience with Buhari.
Thank you.
And it did not work. It did not work. We are facing it right now.
My point exactly.
But we should also find out that we had good presidents. Yes, it might be argued, but we had good presidents like Barack Obama. Barack Obama did not have any executive power.
Right.
But he did his bidding. What about the Ukraine president that has been behind his army, that has been fighting tooth and nail with Russia? That is the kind of leadership that we need in this country. And not these people. These people, I'm sorry, one might say old, yeah, but they are old. This is not America, this is Nigeria.
Just because you're old doesn't mean you're dumb.
Man.
Okay, some of the ideas are obsolete
Doesn't
actually.
mean you are dumb.
But being old is actually why do we have to have a
Now, what about
76-year-old?
If we're
Why do we have to have a 76-year-old
and
man
why do we even
that should be chilling with his grandchildren?
If we're going on on the premise of old age. Why do we idolize a lot of American presidents? Most of them have been in their 70s. What are we talking about?
Biden is
what are we talking about?
Man.
Age has nothing to do with it.
See,
age has nothing to do with it. If you understand how leadership works, if your wealth of experience, in fact, first things first, for ruling a nation, ruling a people, leading a company, your wealth of experience has a lot to do, has a lot to play in delivering results and outputs. So my point is this: I understand that there is an advantage a younger person has over the older man in terms of being nimble, being dynamic. You're able to quickly be dexterous in what you do and how you offer what you offer. But the young one can also be quite impulsively irrational. If I
So
might
are you
say.
saying-
Because case in point, I mean, we have a number of, bringing it down to Nigeria, I'm not going to take it out of the country. Bringing it down to Nigeria, we have a number of young people that we have given little powers. Says, come, be governor, come, be senator, come, House of Reps, and they have messed up woefully.
Really?
So now, can we say in Nigeria we should premise your viability based off of your age? I think no. I think
Nobody
that
has
you
said
can,
that,
hold
actually.
on. I think that you can be old, but as long as you're able to have your vision together and you're able to know how to transport your vision from just being theory into practical, and also surrounding yourself with the right advisors and policymakers. Why is the sky not your limit with your country?
Okay.
Okay,
Hold
sorry.
on.
Let me say something.
All right.
Why I'm particular about Atiku
Okay,
is
we need
that-
to round off in a few minutes.
Yes,
so
I
that
know.
we can get
I know.
into the
Why I'm
next
particular
candidate.
about Atiku is this. Age for me may not necessarily be my number one issue with Atiku.
Okay.
He has corruption
Charges.
charges, alleged corruption
As they
charges.
all do.
Hold on, please. Alleged corruption charges all around him. SPVs and non-SPVs, special vehicles for moving money. Do you understand? You know. Also, this is a man that's supposed to be leader of the opposition, right? We had a government that people were suffering in the last 4 to 8 years. What did he do in those periods?
What was he supposed to do?
Hold the government accountable. What did he do? He was in Dubai chilling.
What was he supposed to do, really? Come out and speak English?
No, but then naturally,
What
we
do
know that that's what the opposition does.
expect an opposition to do?
It happens in
put
Senate
people,
clients where
yes,
we
put
have
people on their foot.
oppositions critiquing the
Yes,
government. As it
make
were.
sure the government are doing what they're supposed
But-
to do.
but that's
Because
not-
it makes you put the people first. Because if you're not putting people first, then you cannot critique the government. You're not feeling the pulse of the people. You are living in Dubai. You cannot feel the pulse of the people. So that's why you don't know that anything is happening.
Where has the
Simple.
where has the most effect in effecting change? Is it in speaking or in actually being in the
but then-
Case in
position to wield
point. Case in
power?
point. Deborah was
Oh
killed.
my God, you're calling the
Case in point. Yes, I have to. Let's bring that. Let's go there.
No, that is very critical.
No, let us go. Let's go there. Deborah was killed. She was massacred for I think blasphemy.
Yeah,
religious
basis.
say on religious basis. What did Atiku do? What did the PDP president do? He tweeted and condemned that. After a few minutes, he took it out. Took it down.
Can I tell you the reason?
Tell
Because
me.
he believed that the North would give him this presidency. Thank you.
So he was just looking for their votes. In other words.
So are you saying that kind of person that can pander to a region because of votes would value human life?
Oh, well, we don't know that entirely, but the election and the voting process will actually speak the minds of a lot of Nigerians. All right, let's move into our next candidate, and that will be Peter Gregory Obi. Peter Gregory Obi was born on the 19th of July, 1961. That makes him 60 years or 61 years of age or so. He is a Nigerian businessman and politician who served as governor of Anambra from March to November of 2006, February to May 2006. Well, there's a bit of gap in the dates because, of course, we all knew what happened to him. He lost the vote, or he was declared not winning the election. He took it to court and then came back, and at some point he was impeached. A lot of controversies surrounding his governorship run for the 8 years, and he became the Labour Party nominee for president of Nigeria in the 2023 presidential election after defecting from People's Democratic Party. All right, Peter Obi, as we know him, is a businessman. He ventured into politics. He held leadership positions in some private establishments. Some of the companies he served, including Next International Nigeria Limited. He was also chairman, director of Guardian Express Mortgage Bank Limited, Guardian Express Bank PLC, Future View Securities Limited, Paymaster Nigeria Limited, Champs Nigeria Limited, Data Corp Limited, and Card Center Limited. He was the youngest chairman of Fidelity Bank PLC. All right. All right, that's all I'll be sharing with you as regards a little of his profile. We're going to share more as we speak on. All right, Natasha, what do you think of the man, Peter Gregory, one of the most popular candidates?
I think now his name has turned to Peter David Obi due to some little controversy with Pastor Paulo de Furaisen.
Oh, that's a recent one. Though.
Yes, recent one, which I think was quite unfounded. But I'll leave that to the back burners. All right, so Peter, what comes to my mind when I think of him? I think of an intelligent man, right? I think of a man who is well versed in economics. I think of a man who has run businesses, so therefore he knows how to manage an economy to a large extent. I think of a man who also has a heart for people, because most of the time when I hear him speak, he speaks as one who has Nigerians at heart, which also can be politics at the end of the day, because they know how to make us feel like they love us, but yet it's all for selfish interest. But that's on the side. So based off of what he has, I mean, look at Next Supermarket. That is a massive investment right there, and I'd love to see that. I love a man that is progressive in his thinking and knows how to manage his businesses. But when it comes to certain policies that he puts out, especially with the economics and his mantra, his biggest mantra, which is manage. You know, let's manage. Let's not be a spendthrift economy. Let's manage. I understand that you really want to manage the economy, but sometimes it makes me understand, are you put in the space of leadership to save money and not necessarily create the right avenues for investment? So most of the time that I've heard him speak about his leadership in a number of states, I always hear him say he left a lot of money in the bank, and I understand that, and it is quite laudable. But for me, as you are put in governance, I did not put you there to save money for me. I put you there to turn my state around. I put you there to put my money to wise use, which is create infrastructures, development. I want to see mad things happening, mad things in the sense of good things to my listeners out there. But when you tell me you left a lot of money in there, and I'm wondering why is there so much money in the account, which is a good thing. But on the flip side, I need to see a lot more investment and progressive development in my state, much more than what you said.
Are you insinuating that he didn't do so much for Anambra State?
He did. I think he did a number of things, but I do not think that it was exceptionally fantastic the way he's touted to be.
Okay.
I think it's quite overly exaggerated.
That it's on record that within the time he was governor, Anambra State was one of the best or the highest rated state in terms of economy and a lot more indices.
In terms of economy and education, yes, infrastructural development, to some extent. But then, it's not necessarily about even what he did in Anambra, and well, that's not even my premise for what resonates with me when it comes to him. I'm just necessarily saying that yes, he did some good job, but it's overly exaggerated.
All right, Mr. Victor, what do you think about Mr. Peter Gregory Obi?
You know, I was talking about leadership the last time. I think Mr. Peterobi should be the number one in the leadership among these candidates. But I'm coming, we'll get to that point. Why am I saying this? Because for private companies to put you as their CEOs,
and you see the list of private companies.
You must be with them for me. You must be rugged. You must be tough. You must make profit for them. You must be smart. So we have about 10. Yeah. Do you know how many technology companies, banks, FMCGs that he's there, or he was their CEOs? Now, you talk about leaving money behind. My sister, they say a good father will leave inheritance for his children.
Very correct.
You cannot spend it all. Why would you spend all the whole money for crying out loud? Won't you keep some for savings? Won't you keep some just in case an emergency comes up? That is what is happening with all these our leaders. Why will you go in and there will be no money? You'll be owing people. Why?
Most government coffers are empty as at the time one government is changing.
And during his time, he paid lecturers, he paid salaries, he paid pensions.
He didn't
did
owe
not
nobody.
owe a dime.
And he still kept money.
And let's get it right. Let's get it right. When I talk about him having some money saved in the account, I'm not necessarily saying, like I pointed out in my initial opinion and submission, that it was a bad thing or it was something that I do not find laudable, like I said. But I said, yes, you did save some money, but I do not need you to make that your number one campaign mantra, that you're a savings leader.
But in Nigeria, that should be a campaign mantra.
I need you to make me see that with the monies that I give to you, you spend that money real well and create so much investment to me that when the returns come in, it is so massive. So for me, your progressiveness doesn't necessarily have to mean how much you have saved. It means how much progressive development I have seen you effect with my taxpayer money.
Right, do you agree with that?
Let me comment. Thank you very much.
Let's hear from Bright. We'll come back to you.
So, for me, Peterobi is a model man. He's a man's man. He's the kind of person that you can say, that's my role model, and you'll be proud.
I think we're pushing that too much, but it's
okay. If you remember, like maybe some weeks ago, there was a pastor that said something along the lines of saying, I pray for you that your children will have the character, will have of the kind of president you're supporting, right? The president candidate you're supporting. I said amen. Some people could not say amen. Do you understand? Why?
Did you say amen?
I never heard that.
Did you say amen to that?
Well, yes, I would, because I know who I'm voting.
Well, my point is this. Yeah. You've read his track record. You know, everything is there for you to see. The good thing about the presidential elections is once you come out to be a president, you will be the most researched. You'll be the most. They will check you. The background check on you will be. If it was 10 before, it'll be times 100. It'll be times 1 million right now. Yeah. Why? Because people are looking for dirt on you. But this man came out almost 8 months ago. Up until now, the only thing they can find against him, or they can say this is what Peterobi did, probably the Pandora case, which he came out himself to debunk, and also told you why and what happened, gave you the process, told you what happened with that. The other guys that have been alleged, they could not even come out to defend themselves.
That is the problem we will have. If we vote some of these leaders that will never come out to defend themselves.
This man is ready to speak to people. Yeah. He has integrity, which has shown. He has character, which has shown in the kind of places he has worked as chairman, as CEOs. All right. None of them has come to say this guy misused our funds. None of them has come to say this guy misused the power that was given to him. He has done things and left it where it's supposed to be. When it comes to Anambra, which is for me is a bragging right for him and for every supporter of Peterobi, I may be sounding very passionate about it because Peterobi is somebody that, you know, when I got to know about him and read about him, I was intrigued. Like a Nigerian, because truthfully, if I am half of the man that Peterobi is, I would have done well. Trust me, a Nigerian, you can't find you are leaving 75 billion.
Nigerian politician.
Nigerian politician, sorry. You are leaving 75 billion after you've paid everybody's salary. You are not owing anybody. We are hearing people that own workers for 12 months, for 36 months.
And their states.
In their states. We're hearing people that are owing. It's not just Abia State. Abia State. Owing pension. This is man, he came out boldly and told you, I am not owing anybody pension. I'm not owing gratuity. I'm not owing contractors. Do you know what that means?
Is that exceptional? Some other
it is. It is. Nobody has come out to say the same.
I haven't heard of any governor.
This is someone that
built able to come out to say, okay, I'm not owing anybody, and I have this amount of money in government coffers. What I heard, or what we usually hear, is when one government is transiting to the other, we hear cries of the incoming.
It left nothing.
shouting.
Can I say something?
He has run away with your money. Oh, go
Look
after
at what happened at Osun State.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The governor said, I left money. The governor
I not see money.
You know, that is mostly the usual.
Let me give you another example. Let me give you an example. There's a current sitting governor, Darius Ishaku of Taraba State. During this campaign season, I think that was like maybe sometime last year or so. I can't remember exactly now, but he made mention of something. He was talking to somebody else. They were asking about Peterobi. He said he was talking to one of his friends, former governor of Anambra State, the guy after Peterobi.
Yeah.
He asked, and this thing that they're talking about Peterobi, that he left this kind of money, is it true? It was on video.
Yeah.
He said, my brother, not true, and this is what I used to build the airport. So it doesn't look like as if the money was wasted. Did you know the gravity of that? You know, another governor is attesting to the fact that you actually left that said money that you left. So for me, right, it's even not about all this. It's about his character.
Yeah.
It's about his love for human capital development.
All right.
He said something yesterday, I think or 2 days ago, that since he left government, right, every month at least, he visits 5 schools and donates nothing less than 1 million naira to those schools.
All right.
Do you know what that means?
Yeah. All right. It's been an interesting discussion here. And our last candidate for today will be Rabiu Kwankwaso of the NNPP. And Rabiu Kwankwaso was born on the 21st of October 1956. That makes him 67 years of age. He's a Nigerian politician who was the governor of Kano State from 1999 to 2003 and then came back again in 2011 to 2015. After he lost his re-election in 2003, he was appointed the first Minister of Defense of the Fourth Republic with no prior military background from 2003 to 2007 under the administration of former President Olusegun Obasanjo. He was later elected to Senate in 2015, serving 1 term under the platform of the All Progressives Congress. That's the APC, representing Kano Central Senatorial District. All right. Rabiu Kwankwaso is currently the national leader of the New Nigerian People's Party and also the presidential candidate of that party. He attended Kwankwaso Primary School, Gwazo Boarding Senior Secondary School. Well, he has some very interesting educational record here. He attended postgraduate studies in United Kingdom from 1982 to 1983 at the Middlesex Polytechnic and Loughborough University of Technology, where he received a master's degree in water engineering in 1985. He's also bagged his PhD in water engineering at Shada University in India in 2002. That's just a little about the man, Rabiu Kwankwaso. We'll get to know more about him as we discuss. All right, Mr. Bright, what would you say about the personality of Rabiu Kwankwaso of the NNPP?
Okay. Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso.
Yeah.
I like him. Yeah, it's someone that, you know, I'm actually, you know, someone I can always root for to do well. Yeah. Why? Because I stayed in Kano at some point. I worked in Kano at some point, and he was governor there, and he transformed Kano. You know, knowing what Kano used to be, he actually transformed Kano. So he was big on infrastructure. He was big on human capital development. And for me, those were an education. So these were very key elements for me. And he's someone that if given a chance, I'm sure he can do well. All right. And I like his focus on grassroots, because his campaign has been about grassroots. He's not going to big cities. He's going to the, you know, like for instance, in Cross River, he goes to places like Buki, Ikom. He will not go to Calabar. Do you understand? So he's meeting people at the grassroots. Right. Look at him in Jigawa, look at him in Kano, look at him in Kaduna. He's doing very well, and I wish him the best. All
right, great to know that he will do very well if he succeeds. Mr. Victor, what do you think about Rabiu Kwankwaso?
Okay, let me start with the grassroots points that he made. We know him as a grassroots man, but in Nigerian grassroots, if you don't have money, you are just playing around. Because the grassroots, when we are talking about vote buying, they are the ones collecting most of these monies because they are in pains. In the voice of our caricature politician. So, but in education, he's good to go. He has shown his works in education. In defense too, he has that knowledge. And when you also come to infrastructure, I think I will give him some marks. Yeah, not extreme marks, because I wouldn't align him with some of those bourgeoisies that we know that they really do well with infrastructure. Okay. But becoming top front runner here, I think he should not even make this list. But yeah, some people might be against me out there, because I think his politics is sectional, just a particular area, okay? And we know Kano and Kaduna. Well, let me keep it that way.
All right, thank you very much. Natasha, what's your opinion about?
Well, I'm very much on the side of Victor and Bright as well. I think that Kwankwaso has a lot of prospects. I think that he is a man who has done well to an extent. That's why he's quite popular in the north. I think that, so like in terms of education and all of that, but what intrigues me about him is I really didn't know that he used to be Minister of State Defense at a point in time. And it makes me see that this man has some wealth of experience that is needed in the Nigerian governance to a large extent, but he's doing himself a disservice by not being a candidate for all. He's very sectionalized, like Victor said. His main focus is on the north. And even when we talk about grassroots, yes, Bright has made mention that he has gone to the inner throes of Calabar and some other places, but I mean, in a number of a lot of other states, other than the northern states, we don't see this man's presence, right? It's almost like it's non-existent. So it makes me see, do you really see the other regions as part of Nigeria? It makes me worry about your biases, in as much as your prospects are good, but your biases show me red flags.
Interesting. All right, that's what Natasha thinks about Rabiu Kwankwaso, but let's go into their manifestos. Let's know what the plans that these people have for our country, Nigeria. All right, let's go into the manifestos of all of these candidates, that is the front runners, and let's see what plans they have for Nigeria as a nation. For that of Atiku, his manifesto mantra is recovery. Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso is education, and that of Peterobi is production, while Bola Ahmed Tinubu is renewed hope. So let's take them one by one. All right, Brad, I'd like you to take on Atiku's recovery. What do you think about his manifesto as a whole?
It was well written. All right. Atiku's manifesto is actually well written. I think I was privy to look at some of it, but for me, it looked more like copy and paste. All right, because if it's not, he should be able to come out to defend his manifestos. He should be able to come and debate his manifestos. The same thing with Bola Tinubu, and that is why I have an issue with their manifestos. If it was properly thought through by them, written by them, because they are beautiful things. They're written there. You want to digitalize the economy. You want to, ensure that we do proper exports. We want to ensure that money meant for Nigerians are for Nigerians. Beautiful ideas, a lot of things. But come and tell us yourself. A manifesto. Anybody can write a manifesto. It's a book. Tell us. The biggest manifesto I would take is the one you're coming to tell me, I want to do this for you.
Which is your vision for the country.
Thank you. But you cannot come and you don't want to have a live debate or live session, or people cannot ask you questions on, you said you would do this. How will you do this? Nothing of such.
All right.
So yeah.
Let's leave it at that. Mr. Victor, what's your opinion about Atiku's recovery manifesto?
Atiku gave us this problem. I mean, what is happening with APC? Because they brought in APC to Nigeria. Okay? So he wants to recover us back to where PDP left us. Or is he recovering us down to 1960?
Very interesting question.
Okay, so for me, these are just mere words. Okay? I think for everybody too, I'm sorry, I might just say that, but we just need action and action. Recovery or no recovery, man. Mere words, man.
Natasha, do you also think the same way with Victor, though?
Okay, so very much well, I agree with what Victor has said and Bright have said about Atiku. I think that the manifesto just looks like, some professor wrote it out there for him, as it's alleged. But my biggest issue with his manifesto is
the fact that he's not rightly interfacing with Nigerians. We are not seeing your face very much upfront. We are not hearing you very much upfront as to what it is that you will for the people. And if we cannot hear you, if we cannot feel you, if we cannot touch you, what are you recovering? What did you cover that you have to recover? We need that closure.
All right, let's leave it at there. Let's go into our next candidate, which is Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. And then his manifesto mantra there is education. He wants to focus more on education. So let's have your takes on it. Let's start with you, Bright.
Okay. So for Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, it's not just about education. All right. So I think he has about a 20-point agenda or 10-point agenda, something like that.
It's a lot.
You know, yeah, it's a lot.
By the end of
It's
the
a
day,
lot.
you'll do none.
You know, that's about education. There's a part for labor. You know, there's a part for agriculture. You know, there's a lot of beautiful words there. And again, still bringing back to what I said about Atiku. All right. We need to know, we need to see more. Anybody can write these things. And that's the truth. Like she said, if you can pay a professor to give you a beautiful, detailed manifesto, give a graphic designer to make it look beautiful. And that's a manifesto. I can do a manifesto.
And so you feel that Rabiu Kwankwaso's manifesto looks just like that of Atiku. They are not representing it.
No, I'm not saying that. Like I said, they all have beautiful manifestos because they're all well thought out plans or stuff to write in. However, I'm not hearing these things you're writing down there. I want to come out and tell me what you think you would do for us.
Okay.
Tell me that manifesto. How do you want to do them? Tell me the how. Not just a manifesto. We're going to build. We're going to give good have free education, or we're going to send plenty of people to school abroad. How do you want to do that? You want to stop corruption? How?
All right, let's leave it at that. So Victor, do you also think?
No, I think these guys have been coming out to tell us what they want to do. Personally, I don't have an issue with the style they want to use, but just like I will always say, these are just mere rhetorics. When it comes to the real job, are you sure they can come true?
Right.
Okay. And like most of them will say, the oil subsidy regime will end. It will end
They're all saying the same.
And they
also
come
the same
into
thing.
office and it's such a drag.
Yeah.
And like right now, our president said he came into office to fight corruption. Corruption is fighting back again.
So everybody is talking about, I think that's one point that should be in one of these guys here, because everybody is talking about the subsidy. Even APC themselves are not telling us that the subsidy.
It's
an interesting call. All right, I was going to ask you the same thing, but it looks as if you're tilting to the same angle with Bright and Victor. So let's move on to our next candidate's manifesto mantra, and that would be that of Peterobi of the Labour Party. He says he wants to move us from consumption into production kind of government. So do you think that's a possible thing from his manifesto?
Me? Oh, okay.
Obviously,
Consumption and production. So that was very catchy, and that's the truth. All right. When he came up with that word or that buzzword, it was something that resonated to everybody, and you know it got everybody thinking. Really, are we a producing nation? Do you understand? You know, and these are the things that make you stand out as a candidate. Speak to the sentiments of the people. When you ask people, are we a producing nation? They start thinking, really, how much do we export compared to other countries? And we have resources. We have natural, we have human capital. What are we doing? Are we doing enough with what we have? Do you understand? So that brings to consciousness what that represents, consumption and production. For me, it was catchy. All right. His manifesto, A Path to Nigeria, was actually, I read it also, it was also good. And like I always say, it's not about the writing, it's about implementation.
So you feel his manifesto is more implementable than the others?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, all of them, would they have the political will to implement all of it? Do you understand? For instance, Peterobi said he will fight corruption, right? In part of his manifesto. By doing that, he's going to cut waste in governance. I can believe that because he has done that in Anambra. By cutting down waste in governance. Do you understand? From having, like, he said he had about 20 convoys before, he cut down to 5. So, and he said something about that was very profound. Corruption starts with you. Once you can stop it from your own part, your people would follow suit.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to just give others a chance to say their opinion.
Yeah.
Do you agree with Bright? At the beginning, I hear you say something which was you don't agree, or you don't see it as something profound if a government leaves money in their coffers while they are living. That's already making it look like you don't see Peter Obi's manifesto as something that is very, you know, realistic.
Thank you very much, Abule, but I would not like you to put words in my mouth. So, my thought on Peter Obi's manifesto mantra, I love it.
Okay.
I love it. Anything that sells me Nigeria for Nigeria by Nigerians to the world, I'm all for it. I want to be able to wear my Nigeria, buy my Nigeria, use my Nigeria. I want to be able to be proud of my Nigerian Naira, that it carries weight. I want to be able to see my Nigeria Naira trade excellently well in the parallel market. I want to be able to see my Nigeria as powerful with the yen, with the dollar, with the sterling, with the pound sterling. I want all of that amazingness. It is good to know that his push is that we transit from being a consumerist society to a production-oriented society. But you understand, a lot of Nigerians do not like change. No matter how much a lot of us Nigerians clamor for change, every time a little bit of change comes at us, we roar, we go crazy about it.
Protest.
So my thought, when it comes to this beautiful man, whom I love actually, it might seem like I do not like him. I think he's an excellent man and he's quite intelligent. It's just that he talks a lot. He's quite very theoretical.
So do you see
he speaks really excellently well. He says things I want to hear, but my biggest issue with him, every time I listen to him, I have a reservation. Is it really implementable? Is it practicable?
Okay.
It sounds good to hear. It sounds good in writing.
But some would argue that, you know, being in government for 8 years, most of the things he has said he would replicate when he gets into power. He has done it before. Governance at the state level is different from at a federal level. That's what you will argue. It's different. I'm going to come back to you, but Victor, do you also agree that Peter Obi's manifesto is implementable?
Implementable, but I'll just say by 60%, because there are some things out there that I don't see them achievable, especially when he was talking about agriculture in the north. The north still has their big issues, and that is insecurity. Unfortunately for us, the president that we have right now was brought in due to his security experience as a former military head of state, and we know how he performed in the 60s, from the 60s down to when he retired, but he failed in that aspect. So when you're not talking about agriculture in the north, you just need to fix security first.
Sorry, can I say something? I like what you just said. If you look at his manifesto, the first thing on his manifesto is securing and uniting Nigeria. Do you understand? Because he said that before you can become a productive nation, you have to have a secured nation.
Did you hear what Victor said? He said sweet melody. What that implies is it doable in this kind of
so exactly, and that brings me back to what I kept saying about the other candidates. They don't say the how, but so Peter Obi has been saying the how, because it takes political will. And so those remember. Let me give you an example. Remember when he was going to expose the oil theft thing when it happened. He said you cannot steal oil just like that. Abacha said something. Sorry, let me before I go to Abacha, you cannot steal oil without people in government or without people in high places. It's not oil. It's something you can go and steal in the market. Okay. There has to be communication. Naval, the Navy has to know about it. There's no way you can load up a vessel on the sea and the Navy doesn't know about it. Okay. There has to be communication. There has to be approvals. Do you understand? Abacha said something. If insecurity lasts for 24 hours, the government is aware of it.
We know. But then, are you saying, in other words, you're saying that everything on that manifesto, most likely Peter Obi will be able to implement
I'm not saying that.
In a very tough terrain like Nigeria. Nigeria is
dynamic. So I don't expect him to fix everything, even in 8 years, honestly. But if he can be able to secure Nigeria, make Nigeria more united, all right, and improved production capacity, for me, he would have done well.
All right.
Like there are some things that I may not be able to maybe implement. Like for instance, there's something on his what they call it now, on his manifesto that's the hourly wages. You know,
those things,
you know,
so
it sounded good.
Yes.
It sounded good to hear.
Now,
but you know,
this is my biggest
I'm still
issue.
thinking how he's going to do
This
that.
is my biggest issue.
Do you understand?
He says a lot of beautiful things. Peter Magnificent Gregory Obi says a lot of beautiful things theoretically. I love to hear it. It sounds like honey to the ears, but implementation-wise, he's going to have a lot of stress. You understand why? There's a system. Nigeria has a running system.
Yeah.
Policies operate on the system. Systems operate with policies. It's a hand-in-glove thing.
Handshake.
You come into Nigeria's system and you say, oh, first of all, you're talking about being insecurity forward and a unifier. I love that. It sounds beautiful. But you were in a party, PDP. There was a lot of ruckus going on in the party. And because you were not the popular candidate, you left. Why didn't you stay to unify that first? You left at the heat of the moment. That doesn't tell me well of you.
Okay, we're going to come back to these arguments, but let's look at the manifesto of our last candidate, Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the All Progressive candidate. He said he's bringing renewed hope to Nigerians.
I think he should take it back.
I renew his own hope.
All right.
Because first of all, there was no new hope to renew.
Oh God.
There was no hope at first. So don't come at renew anything. He's about semantics. But funny thing about him, even though I bashed it real quick, because every time I see his mantra, I'm not interested in it because first of all, you're coming off on the back of a party that has plummeted this country in such an abysmal way that I'm wondering what really, you have to sell me more than renewed hope. In fact, you need to put it in my face in a very what's the word?
Terms.
In a very not just practical. I need to see a hologram of that hope for me to believe that you want to do that. My biggest love with this man, his manifesto is so beautiful to hear. Why? I love that his manifesto is youth-centric. It is my core. It's what I believe in because I believe that's the large crop of Nigerians that need to be cashed in on. We're not doing enough with the youth human capital we have in this country. They've been laid to waste. So I like the fact that his manifesto is youth-centric. He talked about the entertainment. He talked about culture. He talked about tourism. He talked about a digital economy. And I love the fact that the manifesto seems very forward, progressive in the writing, in the theory. But and it can be implemented. That's the good part to it. But when I look at your antecedents, when I look at certain things that precede you, first of all, you say that your manifesto has the tone of the youth, but your disposition is counter it.
Yeah, I agree.
Case in point, NSAS.
Very good. I was going to go there, but
yes, let's go there.
I wanted to react to that. Natasha believes that the Renewed Hope manifesto is geared towards the youth and, of course, a lot of other developmental projects in that manifesto. Do you see this implementable, even amongst the youths that, if you talk to a lot of them, they don't like the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu because they believe that he was behind the massacre during the NSAS in 2020, right? All right, so let's have your take on his manifesto.
These are politicians.
Right.
And they are smart people. So he's using the youth to sell his market. We all know what happened. And in fact, if you go to the streets, go and ask question, and you see a youth, a proper youth, when I mean proper educated youth, and you ask the youth, who are you going to vote? If that person comes out to tell you that I'll be voting for Tinubu, you'll be wondering, is this youth normal?
It's in this country.
Yes. So these are the issues, like we were saying, manifesto or no manifesto. But I also need to say this. You mentioned renewed hope. There was hope when Buhari came in.
Yeah, initially, yes.
8 years ago during the election, you could see that if Goodluck does not work, after all, Goodluck was not working. So that change mantra that they used, they really sold it to the country.
And we bought into
and we bought it. And they came in. There was new hope. Boko Haram was there, remember? We had the case of Chibok girls.
Right.
So they used those loopholes
to market themselves
to get in there. Now he's talking about renewed hope. That please, we messed up. That's how I'm seeing the renewed hope. We messed up, but I'm here again to service the hope, and hopefully the hope will come true.
Well, for me, I don't believe a single word that they're saying. Anything that has to do with APC right now,
You're done.
I'm done. I don't believe anything they say. You know why? This is the same people that don't talk to the citizens.
Right.
They don't care about the common man. They don't talk to you. So if people can hoard palliatives, if they can hoard palliatives, they can ask you what were they doing there at Lekki toll gate.
Right.
Bola Tinubu said that. It's on record. What were they doing there? People that were protesting against police brutality. You are asking them what were they doing there. So that means it's okay for them to be killed. It's okay for them to be shot at.
You don't care.
You don't care. So for me, you're not putting the people first. You're putting yourself first. So why should I bother about your manifesto?
Why should you believe it?
Why should I believe it? You're not, even till now, you're not talking to people. Yeah, they called you for debates. You didn't come. You went to Chatham House, you are delegating questions. You cannot tell people what you will do. Because the problem with the kind of thing is, when you now get there, when you now maybe become president, we can't hold you to anything. Because you would say, I did not say that. It's not me that said that. That's what Buhari is saying now. It's not me that said those things. It's Fashola that said it. It's Tinubu that said it. And that is the truth.
Yeah, very interesting.
Secondly, he's running mates. Kashim Shettima.
A lot of controversy.
A lot of controversies around him. And for me, it's a big issue.
All right, we're going to unravel all of those controversies when we get to the point where we'll be talking about the controversies surrounding these candidates. But I'm afraid that's where we're going to stop right now. We're still going to come back and talk about the predictions regarding these candidates and the controversies. And of course, we'll have you have your say at the end of this program. But for now, we're going to take a break and see you next time.